This video is your Dragon of Icespire Peak DM guide for the Butterskull Ranch quest from the D&D Essentials Kit. Hi, Bob here, and welcome to Bob World Builder, the D&D channel where we improve our games together. Subscribe for new videos every Wednesday under your subscriptions tab. For Dragon of Icespire Peak gameplay, check out the cards and description for a link to my session. Butterskull Ranch is one of the first 3 follow-up quests added to the Phandalin job board after your party finishes any 2 starter quests. Like I said in the Loggers Camp DM guide, the quests are basically balanced for 3rd level, because your party will be level 3 for their first 2 follow-up quests if you're using the suggested milestone level advancement. So I recommend Loggers Camp, then Butterskull Ranch, because this one requires a little more Dungeon Master prep. Here's the quest card that the party receives. Orcs have attacked Butterskull Ranch, 5 miles east of Coneyberry along the Tribor Trail. Travel there with haste, assess the damage, and help any way you can. Alphonse Calazorn, the ranch owner, is a retired sheriff who can reward you for your efforts. If he's dead, return to Townmaster Harbin Wester with proof of Calazorn's demise to receive a reward of 100 gold pieces. So the quest goals are to either save Alphonse and return with him, or save him and the ranch, as well as retrieve his prized dairy cow, Petunia. Convincing Big Al to abandon his ranch requires a seemingly low charisma check of DC 10. Big Al is headstrong and should deliver a heated debate, so I recommend a skill challenge similar to death saving throws, where the characters must succeed on 3 DC 10 charisma checks during the conversation before failing 3 times. But first, the party has to get to the ranch, and there are 2 suggested travel encounters for the 2-day 60-mile journey. Consider moving the horse encounter out of Coneyberry to a random spot on the Tribor Trail during their first day. If the party succeeds in riding the horses, then shorten their travel time, so they arrive late on the 2nd day. I also recommend including 1 horse per party member, including sidekicks, rather than only 3 horses as written. That way, if anyone fails their animal handling check to ride, they can probably double up. And anyone who gets close to the horses should notice the BAK brand. No perception check required. If you chose to include the BAK branded pigs during travel in the Loggers Camp quest, or Mountain's Toe if you ran that first, you should get a good aha moment from the players here. Something should happen in Coneyberry on day 2, so I moved the cow encounter here. As long as the party isn't cruel to Petunia, she'll follow along. If they are cruel first, then change their minds, go with a DC 10 animal handling check to calm her down. And if they don't decide to retrieve Petunia until after talking with Big Al, I suggest letting them find her here in Coneyberry or wherever they saw her initially, rather than using the suggested 1d6 rolling search party rules included at the end of the adventure. The farm is where you'll be doing most of your prep, because this quest leaves a lot of room for DM creativity, stating that there are 3 times as many orcs as characters in the party, spaced however you want between rooms B1 through 9 of the farmhouse. The problem is that this makes for a deadly encounter if all the orcs jump into battle, which is likely to happen if a loud combat erupts anywhere in those rooms. Therefore, you should not limit your orcs to those rooms. They could be outside, training in the gardens, bathing in the pond, chopping trees in the orchard, trying to ride a horse in the pasture, repairing weapons in the burnt smithy, playfully chasing a pig through the cornfield, or loudly having a bad time in the outhouse. Any of these outdoor orcs could be captured and milked for information. For those in the farmhouse, they could be butchering and roasting a horse in the kitchen, carousing in the dining room, having an intellectual conversation over a game of dragon chess in the common room, sleeping in any of the bedrooms, or toying with Big Al in the cellar. In any case, the orc leader should totally be wearing a large white cowboy hat that belongs to Big Al. I just wish I had thought of that before my session. Be sure to adjust the arrival flavor text if you place any orcs outside in visible locations. Otherwise, the first thing your party will notice is the 7 decaying corpses by the pond. This lootless, morbid scene is only helpful because your party can determine that Big Al is still alive somewhere. But I would have scrapped it had I noticed that the orc raid occurred over 10 days ago. Yeah, gross. Unless you play an R-rated game, I would just have the party see Big Al being dragged from the farmhouse or outhouse down to the cellar, if they don't capture and interrogate any orcs to learn his location. And since the ranch hand's loot isn't on their persons, you could include some trinkets in their footlockers in B7 using the D100 trinket table linked below. And maybe a drawn portrait or a letter from home, something to give these NPCs depth and the player's motivation to avenge them. Now check out my group's Butterskull Ranch gameplay video. It's by far the goofiest one yet. Thank you for watching, and keep building.